Thanks once again for clicking into another edition of Sit Down with Ed Brown. Today's guests are rapidly becoming very well known in the Bigfoot community. Now, they're about to make a huge splash with their new movie, Skookum, The Hunt for Bigtruth, which comes out soon, I assume. Please welcome to the show Bigfoot eyewitness and inspiration for the movie, Mr. Mike Wooley, and author, screenwriter, and independent film producer, Ms. Debi King McMartin. How are you guys doing today?
Good, doing real good.
Doing great, Ed. Thank you.
Well, I want to say thanks for allowing me the opportunity to talk to you guys. I mean, it's going to be a fun interview. I look forward to it. So,
thank you for having us on.
Well, you're welcome. You're very welcome. I want to ask you both, but of course we'll do ladies first. How did you get interested in the Bigfoot subject in the first place? Debbie?
Well, I came with my interest in Bigfoot from the film industry perspective. I'd been involved in the film industry prior to my interest in Bigfoot for about 10 years. And I came in from the writing end of it and then sort of accidentally stumbled into the production end and learned a lot about development and putting a package together and raising funds for films, and I actually enjoyed it. It kind of surprised me that I really liked the business aspect too, as a sort of counterbalance to the creativity of the writing part. And so I decided, after doing a documentary film and selling a script which was made into a movie about 5 years ago, I decided that I would like to co-write and produce myself an independent horror film, low budget. And since I drove from my home in a small town in northwest Louisiana, Texarkana, every day, I went through Falk, Arkansas, which of course is where the cult classic The Legend of Boggy Creek was filmed. And I'd always get this chilling feeling when I went through there. Just chills would go up my spine. And I thought, the only horror film genre, that I could even conceivably think about doing at that time was about the Falk monster or Bigfoot. And I kept thinking, well, nobody's done anything about Bigfoot really in Louisiana or the South in years and years. So I thought, well, that would be a fun project, and it's something I could sustain over a long period of time because I'm interested in it. But I didn't know a lot about it, hadn't done a lot of research. And then I told my friend Arlena Acree, who's the head of the Film Commission in Shreveport, what I wanted to do. And she said, oh, you have to meet Mike Wooley. He is just absolutely fascinating. He has a story that will just knock your socks off. So she made the introduction. Mike told me his story, and we were off and running. I knew after listening to him that he was telling the absolute truth. This is a person that doesn't have the ability, no bone in his body is one that could ever fabricate anything like this. And another thing, he was so knowledgeable about Bigfoot, and he had grown to know so many people in the world, including Jeff Meldrum. And so we just expanded and grew from there. And this was probably close to 5 years ago, when the seeds were planted for this project. And we went from there to here, where I've gone from, wanting to make a movie about Bigfoot, learning more about Bigfoot, to actually getting out in the field and doing research with Mike. So here we are.
So you've actually been out in the field with Mike and done some investigating yourself.
I have. During the past couple of years, we went down to central Louisiana to investigate some sightings and some events that had been going on down there. And it was absolutely fascinating. I actually got to experience, a possible visual, which we did get on film. We were never able to confirm that it was a Bigfoot, but I heard the roar too. So that was auditory that aspect of it. To me, it couldn't have been anything else. The sound of the African lion and just, I've seen footprints. We did some castings down there. So, I got to experience, and that made me even a stronger believer because of the experiences there.
Oh, that's awesome. I was unaware that you guys had done any work together, but Mike, what about you? How did you get so interested in the Bigfoot subject?
Well, I've done a lot of hunting over the years, and I was in the woods quite a good bit. And my first encounter was 1981, and I just, stuff started coming on TV, and a lot of TV shows about, finding Bigfoot and Monster Quest and Mysterious Encounters, and I got to watching that, and it just kind of got I kind of got the fever, and I wanted to learn more, and I wanted to see another one,
Sure. Now you mentioned, you mentioned about your experience, and you watched the shows of Finding Bigfoot and things of that nature. Had you talked to anyone at this time through, like, maybe a cast member of the Finding Bigfoot or anything like that?
No, I hadn't talked to none of the cast members. I've talked to Autumn Williams. She was on, Mysterious Encounters, and me and her become pretty good friends, and we talked a lot.
Yeah, Arla is a wonderful, wonderful person. I actually had her on the show myself, and I loved every second of her conversation. She's awesome. I'd like to.
Yes, she is.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah. Now, you had a pretty frightening experience in '81. Can you tell us about that? Kind of lead us up to what happened and tell us the story.
Yeah, I'd be glad to. Back in 1981, that year, I was working at a local wood plant near my home, and I would work 3 to 11 shift. I'd get off work, and I would go home, go to bed about 12, and get up about 4, and I'd go to the woods, and I'd go hunting that morning, and get in about 11, and eat, take me a nap, get cleaned up, and, about 3, go to work. Well, I did that during the week, holidays and vacation time. I did hunt too. That's what schedule my time, where I could go hunting, my vacation time. And got off one Friday night, and I couldn't wait. I was going to go deer hunting Saturday morning, and I woke up about 9:30, and I said, I just overslept, mad at myself, and I said, I'll just do some stuff I need to do around the house, some errands and chores, and I'll just make an afternoon hunt. Well, I got through and got my gear loaded up and headed out to my deer stand. And I went down this main highway, and I turned off on a secondary road. And I went about a mile off the main highway, and where my deer stand was located, down an old logging road. I turned to the left and go back about a half a mile. The logging road run about a mile and dead ended down there. And I would park at the halfway point, the half-mile point, because I didn't want to drive my truck near my deer stand and take a chance on running all the deer off.
Sure.
Well, I turned my truck around, heading out. I always do that. And I would walk down to my deer stand. Well, I did. Must have got on my deer stand about 3 o'clock, and 2:45, 3 o'clock, somewhere in that time frame. About 3:15, 3:20, this little doe deer running out from the east where I'm sitting. I was sitting at 12 o'clock north, and little deer run out and run up to my deer stand and laid down. And she was so wet with sweat she had been running. She was frothing at the mouth, and I was looking at her, and when I quit looking at her, I slowly raised my head up, back, up level, and out of my peripheral vision, I saw something. I saw movement about 2 o'clock to my right, and looked over there, and about that time, I saw something black and very big jump from one tree flatly to another tree, and that tree was 15, 20 feet. I mean, it just hopped and landed right behind the other tree. I mean, feet almost touching the base of the tree. Well, I'm thinking, what is that? And it was standing there behind the tree, peeking. It was doing its stuff behind the tree, but the tree just wasn't big enough. It was peeking out at me at first from behind the tree, and I'm looking at it. Whatever it is, it's 7 to 8 foot tall, at least 400, 500 pounds, and just jet black. I mean, the sun was shining through, and it's just coat just gleaming. It was so black. Well, I sit there for a while and I look at it, and there's all kind of thoughts run through my mind. Is there a circus in town? Did a gorilla escape? No. Is there gorillas out here in these woods? No. And I'd hunted there, a little while. That deer stand, I hadn't had that deer stand there not that long, but I knew the area pretty well. And so I get to looking at this thing, and I'm thinking, there's no way somebody, back then, the land was free, open range land. That means anybody could hunt on it. These timber companies, Boise, Cascade, and Willamette, and all of them owned several million acres of land down in the south, which was here, and they would hunt on their land. That was before hunting clubs come along about 3 or 4 years later. Anyway, people back then would try to move in on you. You'd set your deer stand up, and that was your area. You had claimed that you were there to hunt. Well, they would come in and leave you nasty notes and carry the deer stand up and try to screw with you, try to get your hunting spot, try to run you out where they could take it. Well, I first thought somebody had got a gorilla suit, and was trying to scare me, trying to scare me out of those woods, where I wouldn't come back. Anyway, I'm looking at this thing, and that's what I'm thinking. And I just started talking to the thing. I said, look, take that head off and get out of here. You're not going to scare me off my hunting stand. It's a good way to get shot. So get out of here right now. Well, nothing. He just kept looking at me, And so a little bit later, this thing, he just stepped out beside a tree. And then, there he is, everything, just like, hey, here I am, And he was giving me a dirty look, a real evil look. His eyes could kill. Sinister eyes. It was like he was looking in my soul. And, he, huge. Thing was huge. And he kept showing me his teeth. Must have showed me his teeth during the 15 minutes, 7, 8 times. And he had a light growl, just a real light growl. And he clicked his teeth at me. He'd click them, like them, you could hear him clicking. Anyway, I started getting, something told me something ain't right here. You know, things just started developing in my mind, you know, like I knew something was up because from where he come from, I at one time tried to go back there. And I wanted to scout around just to find a better location, see if I could find a better location for a deer stand, you know. And I couldn't get back there. I mean, it was so overgrown, briar, trees. I mean, them big old thorn trees down here. You know, the thorns are 5 or 6 inches long, and they'll cut you like a knife. And if you fell on one, it'd just be the end of you. And he come through all that. Well, I knew something. I said, uh-oh, something ain't right here, because if he come through all, there's no way a human being could come through all that, especially with them big suits.
Right.
Well, it dawned on me that something told me I'm in an encounter. You know, something. I got myself a serious problem here. You know. You know, they always say take a breath. You know, with deep breaths and close your eyes. Well, I did that for about a minute, and I'm just dreaming. You know, I'm napping. I dreamed this up me to go away. Well, I did, and opened my eyes. He's still there, biggest more glory. And he's looking at me real mean. And during that time, that deer, I don't know what time it left, but it got up and left. I looked down there, the deer was gone. And evidently he had been running that deer, you know. And I think he was a little perturbed about that because I blowed his lunch. Anyway, I'm thinking, you know, I mean, the face is like a human, and I thought, is this a feral human? And I thought, something fixing to give, because he looks like he's wanting to fight, and I'm going to have to shoot him. And I want to make sure that this isn't a human, you know, in a suit or a feral human or something. And so I took my rifle. I had a pretty strong deer rifle, and I turned my scope down to 3-power. It was a 3x9 scope, and I raised my rifle, and you know, I put it on his head, right between his eyes, and I was looking at his eyes. You know, I could see them, you know, blinking, and it was a cold summer day, and anyway, I was looking at it and looking at the thing through the scope, and I could see the steam coming out of his nostrils and coming out of his mouth. And I knew right then that this was a real deal, that this thing was real. And he growled at me like an African lion, real loud. I mean, I felt the vibe come back through me, and something happened to me. I got real nervous. I was nervous to begin with, but I got real super nervous. My throat got dry. I got real nauseated. My stomach was rolling. You know, saying goes, you was so scared, your teeth were knocking and your knees were rattling. Your knees were knocking and your teeth were rattling. Well, that's what happened to me. Anyway, I guess pointing the rifle, and he really made him matter. I mean, you know, it was a confrontation to start with, but that didn't help none. Over about 100 yards to the northeast, a shrill, loud, sharp whistle come back. And he was still looking at me, and he did that whistle back to whatever whistled to him. And I've heard that whistle 1,000 times in the woods, and I didn't know what it was.
Sure.
And anyway, he kind of gave me a sheepish grin when he did that. And whatever it was, I could hear bipedal movement coming our way. And so I knew something told me that it's time to get out of there, because he's got all the reinforcements in. So I climb halfway down my stand, and I just fell off. I'm coming down it frontwards. I'm not coming down it backwards like you're supposed to do.
Right.
And so I jumped and hit the ground. You know, I was pretty young back then and weighed about 150 pounds, and I could move pretty good, but my legs felt like they weighed 150 pounds, and took off running to my truck to the west. And I was thinking, what if there's more up there at my truck waiting on me? What am I going to do? I didn't have the 4 bullets in the gun. You know, that's all it would hold. Mm-hmm. So I look, I see movement over to my left as I'm running, and he is flanking me, running me, and he's running through the woods, and I'm running down that old logging road, you know, and through the forest, and he is just bulldozing brush. I mean, he is knocking it. When I seen how hard he was knocking it with his arms and body out of the way to stay up with me, I thought, oh, no. I'm dead. You know, I thought about my wife. My son was young, 3 years old. You know, just all kind of stuff. And it was really, it's kind of like at my funeral, you know. And but I kept running, and I was coming up on my truck. I said, oh, man, let me just get in there and get out of here. And I said, you know, when I stopped to unlock that truck, that's when he's going to get me. He'll just come run up from behind and nail me. Well, I turned when I got to the tailgate of the truck, I turned to the left from the hip, and I fired a shot. It was just a warning shot, you know, give me time to get in the truck. And anyway, the bullet hit right in front of his head. It hit about 7 to 8 foot pine in a pine tree, and his head was about 3 foot from that pine tree. It hit at the back of the tree. It hit at the very back of the tree, which was facing, and it blew bark. I seen bark go everywhere, and I got to my truck, got unlocked, got in the truck, and I was, you know, getting out of there pretty fast. And I looked in my rearview mirror, and I didn't know it. But I guess I'm thinking it's the one that he called up, that come up. He had been chasing me, coming up behind me on that logging road. I don't know how far back he was behind me or how close he was to me because I didn't look back that way.
Sure.
But he'd been on the logging road, and they met up together, and they come standing out there where my truck was parked that I just left, and was looking at each other, and they were looking at me, and you know, I felt like there was communication while they were standing there because I could see their heads moving as I was pulling out, and it was that close. It was real close, and you know, I went back a week later. I got a friend to go with me to get my deer stand, and he's a big guy, about 400, 350, 6'10", 6'9", and he hunted with me, you know, sometimes. And we went back to get the stand. He said, well, you want me to go with you? It's not wet, you know. You can get it loaded yourself. I said, well, I want some company. And my deer stand was made out of pipe. It was a 10-foot stand and a ladder stand. And I had it made by a friend, and he used that heavy pipe. I'm talking about heavy pipe. It took two guys to stand it up out of the back of a truck, and I would take a big logging chain at the top of the stand and tie it around the stand and lock it to keep somebody from stealing it, and also it would keep my stand steady while I was on it.
Right.
Well, we got back to pick the stand up, and that stand was wrapped around that tree like a vine. Something had took it and just bent it. I mean, he couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. 10 men couldn't have done that. That's just how strong that metal, that pipe was. And anyway, he got to look, and he said, no, there's no way you could got a pickup truck or a four-wheeler in here to pull that around there.
Right.
Because he said there was trees up against your stand. He said you just couldn't have got close. You couldn't have made a circle with it. Anyway, he asked me what was going on. I said, I don't know. And I wouldn't tell him. And so we left. And I'll tell you, over the years that I hunted, I really saw a lot of stuff that was unexplainable. I saw a lot of stuff that really freaked me out. I wouldn't tell nobody about it because I didn't want them, ridiculing me and thinking I wasn't a good hunter, and I just didn't want to be talked about.
Sure.
And it was that was a pretty wild ride that day.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, did you feel threatened per se? I mean, did you feel like that they wanted to get you, or were you just trying to get out of there?
Well, I really don't know about that yet because first off, I know they didn't want me there, and second off, I don't know why they run me because they didn't have to. Because I knew when I got off that stand, I was going to hit my truck and get out of there. And I know in my mind that both of them could have killed me because somebody said they can run 30, 40 miles an hour. And, if they would have gotten on me, I'd have got one of them with that rifle. One of them would have took a bullet. Whether I'd have made a good enough hit to put him down or cripple him, when you're excited like that, I don't know. But one of them would have took a bullet if they would attack me. And I think they knew that. But and I think they wanted to do a good job on me, to say, hey, we'll make sure this guy don't never come back, which they did. And but I felt like if they would have wanted to took me out, they could have.
Sure. Now, you kept this story to yourself for like 20 years. I mean, maybe to help someone else come forward with their stories, can you tell us, what it was that made you keep it to yourself for 20 years and what finally got you to tell your story?
Right. Well, back in the late 90s, there was some shows come out, Mysterious Encounters, a lot of different shows about Bigfoot, the Monster Quest, stuff like that, and people were getting on TV and telling about their encounters. And so I thought, I said, you know what, I'm not crazy after all. There's something, these things must be everywhere, because people were telling about from each state what had happened to them and what did it change, how it affect their lives. And so I called Autumn Williams first, and I started talking with other different people. Me and Dr. Meldrum talked right after that. We'd been talking friends for a long time. And I just started telling everybody what happened to me. And sure enough, the BFRO, I was looking at their encounter report, and this elder man that lived down there in that area, about 2 to 3 miles south of where my encounter happened, he wrote in that he took his little dog out one night to use the bathroom, and there was a humongous creature. The street light was shining, and he could see it. It was standing over by a utility shed of his, and the head was even with the top of the building. The building was 8.5 foot off the ground, and he said it smelled real bad. And he got his dog and went back in the house, got his pistol, and he was coming back out. It was gone. He said he could hear it walking through the woods. Well, you don't know what that did. I felt like I was vindicated. Sure. I thought I'd been in prison for 20-something years, and it vindicated me.
Well, yeah, I can imagine. And I mean, the story is a great story, but Debbie, what was it about Mike's story that intrigued you enough to want to make a film about it?
Well, he's the only person that I've ever known that had the kind of encounter that he did. And when he told me the details of the story, just like he told your viewing audience, I was just absolutely riveted. I thought, he's so credible. He is so believable. I feel the truth emanating from him. And I don't know that I've ever come across anyone in my life that's had this kind of encounter with an unidentified creature like Bigfoot. And it was right in my own backyard, so to speak. So I wanted this film, even before I met Mike, I wanted this film to be based in authenticity, just like The Legend of Boggy Creek. I wanted it to have that Southern Gothic feel. I wanted to use mostly real people in the movie, and I wanted Mike to be in the movie because he's so real and his story is so believable. And I thought we fleshed out a narrative story with Mike's experience as the nucleus, his experience of encounter with Bigfoot. And we worked from there. We wouldn't be able to make a whole movie just based on, what happened to Mike because it wouldn't be honest. So we had to embellish it with scenarios that would be plausible and feasible with Bigfoot in Louisiana, and with the feel of this Bigfoot based on Mike's experience with this creature.
Sure. So it sounds fascinating, and I can't wait for it to come out. Now the movie.
Well,
go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. We worked we worked a long time on this project from the very beginning to as homage to Legend of Boggy Creek. We wanted again that whole feel of the realness of it. So yes, I'm sorry. Go ahead with your question.
Well, that's fine. That's fine, and I'm sure it will. Now the movie Skookum the Hunt for Bigfoot. Then it's post-production right now, I guess. But when will it be released?
We are deep into production. We have a rough cut, which is very, very rough, and there's a lot more that we discovered when we actually saw it screened on a big screen. You're able to pick out the flaws that you need to correct, and we're doing those now. In fact, 2 weeks ago, Mike and I and some of the filmmakers and a couple of other people went out and did some pickup shots in the woods around the swamp to insert in the film. There's invariably these little holes that you see that you want to make better. We needed more of the creature in the woods from the creature's point of view with distance shots, with the creature in the woods peeking from behind a tree, and those kinds of things that we see as we're editing the film. We see that, and I'm storyboarding out right now based on the dailies, the big Excel sheet with an analysis of every scene that was shot. We're taking that and finding the holes and say, okay, we need more. Need that there, because we don't want to release this film until it is absolutely right on where we want to be. Now, we thought we could have it out in 6 months, and granted, this is my first narrative feature film to produce, and that was a short time frame, and I will never do that again. So we do have, like, on the website, on Skookum the Movie website, we're offering people to be part of the film, part of the test audience, and we're sending 11-minute, what we have right now, 11-minute sample footage for them to see, not post to the internet or anything like that, but for them to view, to give their opinion of, what the footage is like, how it affects them so far. So we're doing that and, letting the audience be part of the process, which is it's new and innovative, and we'll see how that works. But they get to be part of that. They get their a credit on the film too in the special thanks section. So that's kind of exciting for some people to get on the inside of it and be part of filmmaking.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, count me in. I'll go to. Now you said that was at SkookumTheHuntForBigfoot.com.
Yes. Actually, we're gonna, what we do is we're allowing people to buy the director's cut DVD, pre-order it before, obviously it's not ready yet, but it will be. And for that, they get to it's a discounted rate of what it will be when it is ready and is released. So they get a $5 discount, plus they get a magnet signed by either myself or Mark Wooley, and a refrigerator magnet, and then also they get to be part of the test audience and get their name on the movie. So it's kind of a win-win for everyone. So, we're going to, as a courtesy to you, you're automatically part of our test audience for having us on the film. So we'll just give you that, because that's what we're doing for people who are having us on, is a thank you for inviting us and being interested in our.
Oh, well, the story's awesome. I mean, the story's great, and I thank you for letting me be a part of that. That's awesome. I look forward to working that out.
Well, and one more thing I would like to say about the movie is that we did, and this was one of the things that Mike asked for, and of course, one of the things that we wanted to do is render respect to the creature. To as yet identified creature Bigfoot, and not film this movie as a slasher film or as an exploitative film. We want them to do the story our way with our vision, which I feel that the Bigfoot community will respect. For us adhering to that, we're not going to sell out to any network that wants us to put, Bigfoot eating people or things like that in there. We're just not going to sell out for that. So I'm proud of that. I'm proud we've stayed with our vision.
That's great, and I think that's exactly the way it should be done. And I commend you for sticking to your own personal beliefs and scenarios there. That's awesome. Now, Mike, when they said you were in the movie, what role do you play in the movie? I mean, are you playing yourself, or how does that? What's going on there?
Yes, I'm playing myself. I'm playing an old recluse out in the swamp that's been in there and hunted all my life and know the area real good, and I know just about every person around and can give you a little insight on them, and they kind of look at me as an instrument for some information to get, and that's about as far as I can go with it, but that's generally about what I play.
Good. Now, I recently had the opportunity to talk to Dr. Meldrum, and he didn't tell me that he was a movie star now. What kind of role did he have in the movie?
Well, we give him a professor role. He didn't keep his name, but he came down to be of assistance to a friend that asked him to come down and help, and he did a good job. I mean, he was really good.
Yeah, great guy. I enjoyed talking to him myself. But yeah, definitely want to look forward to seeing him in there as well. Where is there a place where people can go to see the trailer for the movie?
They can go to our website and go to Skookum, themovie.com, and click on trailer, and it'll pull up the movie trailer.
Great. Now, I was going to ask Mike if he was doing any field work, but Debbie, you mentioned earlier that you were both kind of getting out together a couple times, at least over the last couple of years. How's that going? What do you guys got going on in your field research?
Mike had an injury I think at the end of last year with his shoulder, and I have been busy with the movie in this post-production aspect of it. So we haven't really had a chance to get out in the past 6, 8, 9 months. But when everything comes together and we have a little bit more time, we're definitely going to go back and do more research in the same area, because there's a lot there. There's been many, many sightings, and we definitely want to go back and continue that.
That's great.
Because we do plan to, it just enhances, I think, our creative projects, the films. We definitely do plan to film 1 or 2 more Bigfoot movies. One that is going to be a sequel, and the script is about halfway finished. My co-writer for Skookum, Lynn Morgan, is actually working on that right now, and talked to her today, and she's on page 50, so she's halfway there. And that's a sequel. And then, and Jeff Meldrum has already said he'd come back for that, so that's good. And then there's another little bit more artsy type of Bigfoot film that Mike and I have talked about doing between the time that Skookum the Hunt for Bigfoot and the sequel for that is done. This will be a much smaller project.
Sure. Now, is it going to be more of a, you use the term artsy. I mean, is it going to be, does that mean like a documentary type film?
No, not a documentary. More along the line of, I don't know if you've seen Chris Munch's Letters from the Big Man that was filmed, I believe, in Washington State. It's absolutely, if you haven't seen it, it's a gorgeous film. It's just beautifully done, and I think it would be more in that spirit.
Yeah, I haven't seen that yet, but I will definitely look that up. Now, Mike, you've had some other sightings as well. Can you tell us, do you want to add anything about those?
Yeah, I was, I left that area where I had that encounter, and I quit deer hunting for 2 or 3 weeks to try to let my nerves settle down. But when I got to work, go back out, I moved my stand about 7 to 10 miles to the southwest of that area. I want to make sure I put plenty of miles between us. And I always got on my deer stand early, in the morning. I'd like to get there around 5 or 5:30 and let my smell die down. And of course, I camouflaged it the best I could, and let the noise settle down before daylight. And in this I was walking down this old trail. I think it used to be a road, but there was this big, humongous cedar tree. I mean, a big cedar tree. I don't know how big around it was. It's one of the biggest I've ever seen in my life.
Wow.
And, the limbs hung down to the ground. And I'd walk by there, and sometimes in the morning early, I'd jump turkeys. They'd be in there roosting, and, man, all I heard was wings flapping and gobbling, and it just about made my heart stop. It scared me so bad. I go on my deer stand, and I get on it, and my deer stand was probably 75 yards to the left off of that trail facing north. And I was sitting on there one day about 10 o'clock in the morning. I'm looking north, and that tree's over to the left, probably 125 yards, 150 yards at the most. And that tree just all of a sudden, the south end of the tree just opened up, and out stepped this big creature, just what I saw to the east a couple weeks back. And, man, my heart just stopped. I just thought, not again, And he went on, took a right, went on in the woods. Well, I'm thinking, oh, no, going to go again. And I sat there for another 2 hours, and I said, I got to get out of here. My day's done, So I get down off my stand, and I'm walking up. I got to go right by that tree. It's real tight. There's another tree. I got to walk between it and that tree, and it's real tight. And I'm thinking, well, he's gone, ain't nothing going to happen. So I walked over to where he'd come out, and I took my rifle and put it on fire, pulled back some limbs. I wanted to see what he had going on in there. And he had gotten that tree. He had broke some limbs off first to make him a place where he could get in there and have an ambush before and hide. And I tell you, if anybody knows how hard a cedar tree limb is, and they were big limbs. I mean, he snapped them like a twig, and throw them out. But anyway, there was two big butt prints. Something had sat down, and on the right side, say facing to the south, there was a big pile, meticulously stacked feathers. Big pile. I mean, he'd been doing this for a long, long time. And on the left side was a big, meticulously stacked pile of bones. And I mean, they weren't scattered around. They were just in a pile. I mean, a very well stacked pile. And I like what he was doing. He was getting in that tree, and he was ambushing turkeys. And when they were coming in to roost at night. I mean, at night, and that's what he would do. And so I started watching cedar trees real close then, because I kind of had a thing about cedar trees.
Sure.
And so anyway, that kind of set off some red lights, but that was a learning experience there. That was pretty slick on what they were doing.
So you think that it got into the tree and waited and ambushed for its prey to come to it, correct?
Right. He got in the tree, and he could just step on a few limbs and climb up a little bit and let the turkeys light, let them come in there and get comfortable and roost, and then he just grabbed him one.
I guess that's a smart way to hunt, if you can. Now, Mike, as a researcher who's had numerous encounters, what advice would you offer to someone looking to get out in the field for the first time? Do you have any advice for them?
Okay, they're looking for doing Bigfoot research?
Correct. Yes, sir.
Well, if you get out there and you do like me, you have a really, really close encounter, whether it's 20 feet away or whether it's 200 yards away, and you visibly see the animal creature. Don't confront it. Don't engage it. Don't point any particular kind of weapon, any kind of gun at it. And if you're up close like I am, don't make eye contact, because I think that signals, a bit of I'm ready to fight you, in his eyes. Respect them and don't shoot one, because it's not going to do you any good to shoot one, because first off, you're not going to get it out of the woods. I guarantee you that. I bet all kind of money you won't get it out of the woods if you shoot it, because he's going to have, they always got a buddy around, close hand, always. I mean, if it ain't but two of them, he's going to have backup. And trust me, they can get many more in there quick before you know it. You'll have 7-8 dozen on top of you. So, and they're going to, if you shoot one, hurt one of them, they're very revengeful. They're going to kill you. I mean, they will get you. I mean, they will pay you back for hurting one of their own. So, you need to think about all that. But, just respect them. Don't bite off more you chew, and be safe.
That's some good advice. How about you, Debbie? Are you accepting any movie ideas or anything like that? Are you accepting anything?
Well, I really, I don't think I have really anything to add to what Mike said, because he's the one that has had the up close encounters. But what I do believe is that people need to be really careful out there, because I think that there's some kind of infrasound or ultrasound capability that this creature has to either allow them to cloak, to make them appear invisible to other people, but more importantly, to have a physical effect on what they consider their prey or maybe their enemy, by making them feel nauseated. Some of the symptoms that Mike experienced, like nausea, dizziness, the feeling that you've been electrically charged, and other symptoms too, because as we know, infrasound, when we're struck with infrasound, we can't hear it, but we can feel it, and those are some of the symptoms. So I think people need to be really, really cautious about that. And again, I think that's why Mike says too, don't look him in the eye, because it will have a physical effect on you. And I just think the cautiousness, but also to understand that I think that they're, of a defensive posture. It's like somebody breaking into our house. The woods, that's their home. And it's like, how would we react if someone, quote, broke into our house? So we have to remember that and respect that more often than not, that's why they preserve that defensive stance, with the growls, with the intimidations, with the baring of their teeth, because they are letting you know that this is their territory. Just like Mike said, they could have killed him,
Sure.
but they didn't. They just wanted to scare him out of their house, I think.
Right. And I think I think you make some great points there. I've talked to some other people who have expressed the fact that there is a such thing as cloaking and zapping and mind speak, things of that nature. And I'll tell you, I don't think it's so far fetched. I mean, we didn't know that a primate could hibernate until we found some, I believe it was lemurs that do hibernate. Now, these are primates that hibernate. So I don't think anything's off the table as far as the realm of possibility. And I think everything should be looked at equally. Now, Mike, you sent me some great pictures that were, I believe, drawn by Sibylla Christine Irwin from San Antonio.
That's correct.
Yeah, these are some great pictures that you sent me, and I'm looking at these. Are these pretty accurate from what you saw?
They are very most accurate, real accurate.
She is a fine artist. I'll tell you this. I've actually, I've heard of her, but I've never really seen any of her work, and she does a great job. I'm sure Dan will be playing those across the screen for us about right now, so people can see those and see kind of what you had to deal with.
Yeah, she's a great artist.
Yeah, she did a great job. I also want to take a moment real quick before we end, because I do want to say thanks to Dan Lindholm, who does all the artwork for us, who puts the video together. Basically, I have the fun job, and he has the one that's not very fun, because I get to talk to everybody, and he has to take my audio and turn it into a video. And he does a great job of that, and I just want to publicly say thank you, Dan, for what you do. And I hope everybody feels the same way. Mike, Debbie, I want to thank you guys for taking the time today also for joining us. Got some great information. Looking forward to the movie, and I am definitely going to go to that website and check out that Skookum. What was the name of that website one more time?
It's SkookumTheMovie.com, SKOOKUM, themovie.com.
Gotcha. And I want to check that out and watch that trailer again, because I have seen the trailer. Mike was kind enough to send me the link to that. That was awesome. And look forward to going through it. Do you guys have anything else you want to add?
We'll also send you the sample footage reel, which is an 11-minute reel for you to watch, so you can get an inside sneak peek at the movie, in addition to the trailer.
That would be awesome. Thank you very much for that. I'm looking forward to seeing it.
And thank you for having us on the show.
Oh, thanks for coming. It's honestly, it's my pleasure. You guys are great guests. You've told your story. I could tell you spoke from the heart, and I truly believe everything that, Mike, I believe everything you've said. I have no reason to doubt anything. Debbie, you sound very professional, and it's like you've got everything together for the movie. I'm just excited.
Oh, me too. I'm thrilled. I just can't wait till it comes out.
Great. How about you, Mike? Do you have anything else you want to add before we go?
Well, that's about it, Ed. Just all the other fellow researchers, just be safe and careful out there, and good luck.
That's great advice. Well, guys, thank you very much for being on the show. It's been a real pleasure, and hope to talk to you both again soon.
Okay, thank you, Ed.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.